Tonight, we start our final round for the chase for the championship. 5 drivers will start tonight's race. 5 chase drivers will start tonight's race to win the championship in 3 weeks time here. But welcome to Phoenix Raceway. Tonight we got 200 laps for the MyMomsAddictions 200, and the 5 championship drivers will start their run for the championship in just 3 weeks time. Aaron Brown joined alongside my co-commentator and producer tonight of Talent Drake, and here we are in qualifying, just getting underway for tonight's race, and we're gonna get ready for a longer one here. 200 laps can get tiring here at Phoenix, especially if you go green for a while. So we'll have to see who can battle kind of the endurance factor as well if you get a really long green flag run.
Not known for iRacing for long runs, but hopefully tonight we will see a long green flag run here tonight. Maybe also some pit stops as well here in the 1 mile racetrack in the desert.
These drivers are setting their qualifying time. Qualifying could be an important one tonight. At the top of the board in practice was Jason Bottoms with a 26.358. As right now, Jason Bottoms on the racetrack starting his second lap. He just goes to the top of the board with a 26.529 there, lap number 1. Chase Bottoms gonna run the middle of the racetrack there in lap number 2. I wonder if he went for lap 1. Or he's gonna get loose, and that's gonna definitely end his second lap there. He almost spins it out there, but he holds on to it, and he has a pretty solid lap there for lap number 1 at 26.529. Lap number 2 here for Kyle Klink. We'll see what he can do. He drives down into turn number 3, a little bit wider entry. Right up to the outside wall and to the line at 26.734. That'll go P6 on the board for that 31 machine. Kyle Klink, one of our non-playoff drivers, looking to win the brackets. He's facing Rusty Rafferty tonight. Here is Brandon Newton. Brandon Newton down into turn number 3, setting up for his first lap. Took up the dog leg. Kind of a little later. You can really get away with cutting the dog leg here at Phoenix. Especially coming to start your lap, you really want to get way up on the wall in 3 and 4 and pretty much meet the dog leg right where the line is. It's pretty much what you want to do, and just straight line that dog leg. That's the best way around here in qualifying. Haven't really seen many others do that. I think Jason Bottoms is really the only one to do that. Brandon Newton here off of turn number 4. He'll complete his first lap, 26.742. Now taking dog leg here on lap number 2. So it looks like his second lap might be a little bit slower.
Yeah, interesting.
Have to cut the dog leg here in qualifying.
Interesting decision as Brendan Max goes up to 4th place.
Max on lap number 2 already. Already set at 26.36 on his first lap. Brandon Newton coming off turn 4 here. See what he can do on lap number 2. It'll be a 26.847. And not improve on lap number 2. Brendan Maddox through turn number 4. And Maddox will run invalid, so he got a contact there, and that will invalidate his second lap there. So only one driver yet to qualify, and that is Daniel Jackson, the 16 machine. Currently sitting in 14th, but so far everyone has set they're both their laps are qualifying. So that means Jason Bottoms, unless Daniel Jackson can beat that time there, it looks like Jason Bottoms will be your pole winner for tonight. And there's our standings heading into tonight. The bonus points are already happening. So bonus points getting a little bit of extra, well, not extra bonus points, sorry. But every driver is starting off with 3,000 points tonight, and the top seeded was Dakota Bly, mainly because the most amount of top 10s he has. It's just kind of how it's sorted out. Almost starts. But here comes Daniel Jackson now coming out on the racetrack.
He's not going to be able to get a lap in here, but just some practice possibly late in the qualifying session.
So yeah, Jackson, he's not going to have enough time to make a lap. He'd have to be across the line now. Be one of the chance, but Daniel Jackson looking into turn number 3. We'll see if we kind of get a good idea how it's going to handle. A little bit more practice never hurts. Across the dog leg, and the time won't run out here in just a couple of seconds. But Jason Bottoms will be our pole sitter for tonight. One of our championship 5, looking to start his championship run strong. As it is definitely a unique set of 3 tracks we have here in the final round, as we have Phoenix tonight. Next week we'll go to Talladega, and in 2 weeks time we'll go to Phoenix. So sorry, Homestead. So 3 kind of different tracks, 3 completely different racetracks here in the final round. It's really going to be a test of who can master kind of 3 different types of tracks to win that championship. So those 5 drivers you see on the right side of the screen there: Jason Bottoms, Alex Bonsior, Cody Dorsey, Kyle Schmitz, and Dakota Bly, all fighting for the championship, as they'll start their run tonight here from Phoenix. Before we, as you see the drivers grading up there, let's take a look at tonight's starting lineup for tonight's My Mom's Addictions 200 here from Phoenix. As on the board, on the top of the board, they're in qualifying with a 26.529. It was Jason Bottoms, Russell Gaffney starting second. Alex Bonsior, he'll start third. Starting fourth will be the 11 of Brendan Maddox. Starting fifth will be the 9 of Cody Dorsey, and Zachary Maddox will start sixth. Kyle Klink will start seventh, and Brandon Newton will start eighth. Starting ninth will be the 00 of Dustin Stallings, coming off a win last week at Michigan. We're going to try and back that up again. Kyle Schmitz will round up the top 10. Starting 11th will be the 17th of Derek Riley. Scott Herbert will start 12th. Dakota Bly will start 13th. And our 14 car field tonight will be the 16th of Daniel Jackson.
Yep, 200 long laps here tonight at Phoenix. It's going to be at least an hour and a half long, even if we go green the whole way. So we could be paid attention to a time limit here, but hopefully we stay green for the most part. But iRig being also an issue here, as the sun is also setting here in Phoenix as well.
So these drivers gonna have to battle that battle with that kind of track condition changes. The track will change throughout the night to get a little bit faster. These drivers looking at 55 laps on a tank of fuel. So we see if you're not shifting, maybe staying in 5th gear, you can probably stretch that out to maybe about 60. It's probably anywhere from like kind of about 50. 53 to 58-ish laps, I would say, on fuel. So
should be
these drivers
easy
going to be looking.
3-stop race there.
They're going to be a pretty easy 3-stop race. We'll see how maybe some drivers want to add an extra stop, but I don't think the timer is going to be that big of a difference for these drivers. We'll see how it plays out. So we'll extend the caution lap. It was a very short pace lap, especially coming off pit road. So these drivers getting it ready to go, have an extra lap to kind of get used to it, get those tires warmed up. Drivers ready to start their run to the championship. 5 drivers looking to start it tonight and do as best they can. You're at the moment now, you cannot afford a bad race. No one's starting with bonus points tonight, so that just makes it even more of a difference, is that you just can't have a bad race in this final round.
Yeah, I mean, one bad race and it'll be very tough to claw your way back up, especially with the point system. I mean, someone wrecks out here early, obviously you have a faster car, so that's nice to lean on, but I mean, you just cannot have too bad of a race. Maybe I think the driver who can finish in the top 5 all 3 races probably will have a good chance to win the championship, and it's still going to be a very close championship, I think, going down into the last race at Homestead.
That will definitely be amazing if it was. We have all these 5 drivers have been the best all season long, so these 5 are going to definitely put on a championship fight. Before we get underway here, let's take this moment to kind of thank the sponsors for the Undisputed Cup Series. As you see in the description, we got the link for the affiliate links for the Snack and Sunflower Seeds and StubHub. If you want to support the Undisputed Cup Series, make sure to use those links when purchasing from those websites. And also check out the other sponsors for the Undisputed Cup Series: Quantum Bearings and Burlington Cafe, and also KK Woods Games as well. As you'll see, those sponsors, all of their cars tonight here on the racetrack for 200 laps here in 200 miles. These drivers getting ready to go racing. The champion, the final round of the championship is underway here from Phoenix.
As all right, 3 wide entering turn number 1.
Jason Bottoms really loose in turn number 1. He's going up on the outside wall. He's going to make contact with Brendan Maddox and multiple cars around in turn number 1. It looks like the cold tires catching Jason Bottoms off guard, and that's a heavy damage on lap number 1.
Wow. I think that was just the cold tires there down in turn number 1.
Jason Bottoms, one of our championship contenders, having a lot of damage early. He does have a fast pair he can't take if needed, but it looks like he just got a little bit too low there and got a little bit too deep and just lost the back end there. Collected Brendan Maddox.
Yeah, kind of underneath that yellow line, kind of a little less banking, maybe dirt. I mean, not dirt, but like just hasn't been ran a lot in practice possibly, and just not very grippy, not rubbered up on the inside. And I mean, wow, that's kind of unexpected here. For that kind of a Phoenix, you know, first lap. I mean, down to turn 1, pretty big wreck there. Luckily, I think only 2 drivers got major damage from that one in the front of the field.
Yeah, Jason Ball was really destroyed as kind of been watching him just going into the corners at half speed. He's been struggling to even getting turning, so I think he's gonna have to take his fast pair early on tonight. So that's definitely going to be a big factor tonight. If he's got to take his fast pair and doesn't have any backup anymore, so he's gonna have to take that now. And he's also got to work his way back from the tail end of the field. So we'll see if he plays out and uses it. I think he pretty much has to use it. The wheel damage is really terrible in that race car already. The rest of you athlete able to inherit the race lead from that, as he was kind of 3 wide there with Brendan Maddox and Jason Bottoms down in the turn 1. He's able to prevail and survive. So the rest of your athlete will take the race lead, and he is, even though he's not in the championship 5 here, he is still fighting for a win in the bracket, the non-playoff driver bracket. Tonight he is facing Kyle Klink. Kyle Klink's the 1 seed came in tonight. He's currently sitting in the 4th, so Kyle Klink looking to try and win that, as he won multiple races this season. Definitely going to be the biggest upset if Rusty Rafferty can beat Kyle Klink in that in the quarterfinals tonight. And next week everyone will go to Talladega, so that'll definitely make a big factor into that bracket next week. So Rusty Rafferty and Kyle Klink, they'll face either Brandon Newton or Dustin Stallings next week at Talladega. So that will definitely, those will be what matchups to watch. The other matchups tonight, Daniel Jackson is facing Cole Lewis. Cole Lewis not here tonight, so that means Daniel Jackson already moved on to the Talladega round, the semifinals of the bracket. Jimmy Gordon and Austin Norris, that matchup, both those drivers not showing up tonight as well. So Austin Norris will move on as the higher seed. So we'll see how that plays out going into the next week at Talladega. But really, the two we're focusing on tonight will be Kyle Klink, Rusty Rafferty, and Brandon Newton and Dustin Stallings for that non-playoff driver bracket challenge. So we'll see how that plays out throughout tonight, and also the rest of the playoffs, the rest of the season, as the pace car off onto pit road once again is Rusty Rafferty. Now Sponsor will lead him down to the O'Reilly Auto Parts restart zone here from Phoenix, and back to the restart zone. Green flag back in the air, and Rusty Rafferty, great launch on the inside lane. He's going to be cleared by multiple car lines before they even get to the start-finish line. I'm going to have to stay up above that start-finish line. That penalty there. But down in the turn 1, a little bit of contact there for third between Bonsignor and Dustin Stallings. A little bit of contact going off the dog leg. Dustin Stallings a little bit in front of the image there. I believe he kind of tagged a little bit of that first incident. But they're side by side now for 4th. Is now Bonsignor clear, but Klink trying to go around the outside, long way around in 3, as he's way up the racetrack.
Shot
the corner a little bit, able to keep some speed, stay alongside with Stallings, just stay up above the racetrack, above the dog leg, stay up on the racetrack. Side by side for that 4th place spot still. But down into turn number 4, off at turn number 4, Rusty Rafferty, our race leader still, as everyone single files out for now. So everyone's single filing out, kind of calming down here just for a minute, being settled into this run. Hopefully, just trying to get some laps ticked off. As tire wear definitely be a big factor tonight with all these, all the bumps, especially going over the dog leg a lot. That really heats up your tires and really hurts your tires. So you can't really afford to use that the entire run. It will definitely overheat your tires. But a lot of these drivers running the top lane, they'll definitely eat up the right front there quickly as well. As now Alex Sponsor will look on the inside here of Zachary Maddox here for P number 2. Still fighting there for a second. Bonsignor on the bottom. Just gonna see into the background there. apologies for the lack of production. Our producer has a fire drill in the so that's definitely not useful. But right now, Rusty Rafferty still our race leader, still right there in second. It is Alex Bonsior and Zachary Maddox side by side. Kyle Klink trying to join that battle as well. Try best to kind of keep you updated on where they are on the racetrack. You just kind of see them in the background, just a few little, just out of the corners, as Rusty Rafferty's just pulling away from him. But Alex Bonsior on the bottom, Zachary Maddox on the outside lane, Kyle Klink there into turn number 3. Trying to find his way by as well. They're still side by side for that second place spot, just out of frame. Bonsior, he'll cut the dog leg. He's just going to try and get clear into turn number 1. Still alongside, dead even between those two drivers. So far, Rafferty trying to pull away by about 1.8 seconds out in the lead. They're still side by side there for second. It's down at the turn, off at turn number 4. It looks like Bonsior, he will clear Maddox, and he will. But Maddox is going to try and fight back on the bottom as he'll actually hold back out of it. So that battle is settled for second. Rusty Rafferty pulling away by about 2 seconds now over that pack of second there. Top 3 pretty much gone for the rest of the top 4 pretty much gone for the rest of the field. 5th on back, kind of nose to tail, a couple tenths between each car. So far, Rafferty holding the race lead. Again, apologies for the lack of production right now. Producer having a fire drill in his apartment, so fortunate timing for that moment to happen. But so far, still Rusty Rafferty, our race leader. Alex Bonsior and Zachary Maddox still fighting for second and third. So far, Bonsior able to kind of fend him off, the Maddox off there for second. And Kyle Klink sitting right there in fourth and about 2.5 seconds back off that fourth place driver, Kyle Klink. Yeah, Kyle Schmitz by a couple of car lengths over Dustin Stallings, Brendan Maddox, and Brandon Newton. And that's pretty much the majority of the field. Everyone else is kind of within a few tenths of each other, kind of not really making any moves just yet out towards the back of the field. But so far, everyone's staying nice and calm, getting into this run. Trying to get back into their rhythm a little bit. See Bonsior, he's close to that gap down a little bit for the battle for the race lead here. He's got the gap down to now just under a second. Bonsior looking really strong so far here. Bonsior, one of our drivers fighting for the championship. So Bonsior looking to have a really good race tonight, start his championship race, championship run as race number 1 of our championship round tonight. As these 5 drivers have been fighting all season long to get into this round. Is Dakota Bly, Alex Bonsior, Jason Buff, Cody Doshi, and Kyle Schmitz are the 5 drivers fighting for the championship. So far, Bonsior, our best of our championship 5. Kyle Schmitz sitting there in 4th. Dustin Stallings in 5th. That was last week's winner. He's been winning multiple races here in the playoffs, even though he's not a playoff driver, so he's looking to win again. Jason Bottoms sitting back in 10th, not having the night he was hoping, already involved in an incident on lap number 1. And he's trying to fight his way back as he had to take his fast car early. Is Cody Dorsey sitting there in 12th and Dakota Bly in 13th. So 3 of our championship 5 drivers not having the run they would hope for tonight. But Alex Bonsior running away with it right now as his only competitor in the championship 5 is Kyle Schmitz, just in 2 spots back, sitting there in 4th. But now Bonshore, he's been used to that dogleg a lot more than Rusty Rafferty. And Rusty Rafferty's starting to fall back a little bit. I think he's burned up his tires, trying to stay out, maybe push the pace a little bit too much. Now Bonshore, he's closing that gap in, and Carl Klink doing it once again. We've seen him multiple times this season, where he may not have the greatest short run pace throughout all these throughout the field. But once you get a few laps on those tires, 10, 15, 20 laps, Carl Klink really shows up strong once those tire wear starts to come into play. And look, he's right here, just under a second out of the race lead, sitting right behind Alex Bonshore and Rusty Rafferty. If those two get battling, Carl Klink ready to pounce right behind them. But down into turn number 3, Rusty Rafferty staying pretty far ahead for now. Bonshore now, I think, getting a little bit tricky in that dirty air, but Kyle Klink, really big run from behind as he's actually going to cut the dogleg down to turn number 1. Klink's going to try and clear into turn number 1 here, but it's not going to work. Bonshore holding the outside lane to be able to get the run and clear. Side by side for that takeaway spot, and they'll slot back in line as Bonshore will clear as they're going to try and chase down the race leader once again. But Rafferty's starting to pull back away from the rest of the field. So far, Rusty Rafferty pulling away. Everyone's single filed out for now throughout the field. Just kind of getting settled into this run. So now we're kind of about halfway through the run. These drivers can go about anywhere from 53 to probably 58 laps is what I'm kind of predicting. So far, Rusty Rafferty holding about a 6, 7, 10th lead over second and third of Alex Bonshore and Kyle Klink. Bonshore, you've closed the gap down to about half a second, and the dirty air now playing a big factor. Now Bonshore is taking the bottom, looking like Kyle Klink will go around the outside here. Alex Bonshore just maybe trying to give this spot away, hoping Kyle Klink will go chase down the race leader Rusty Rafferty. Bonshore will slot back in line for third there. Kyle Klink will take that second spot away. So far, one single file out through the rest of the field so far. Give you a full field rundown as you'll see on that ticker there, but Rusty Rafferty, our race leader, Kyle Klink there in second. About 1.1 seconds back. Alex Bonshore sitting there in third. Dustin Stallings in fourth. Ben Max in fifth. Sixth, Daniel Jackson. Seventh, Kyle Schmitz. Derek Riley in eighth. Brendan Newton ninth. Jason Bottoms in 10th. Actually, Jason Bottoms just took that spot away from Brendan Newton. So Jason Bottoms will take that 9th place spot. Brandon Newton will take 10th. Scott Kerber will sit running 11th. Cody Dorsey in 12th. Dakota Wally in 13th. And Zachary Maddox in 14th right now. Rusty Rafferty still our race leader, but Zachary Maddox didn't see how this happened, but he did go a lap down. I think he may have blinked out here on lap number 14. He is currently sitting running 14th, 1 lap down. Oh, missed it, but actually on lap number 15, a little bit ago, Zachary Maddox really loose off turn number 2. split hard to the inside wall, and had to come down pit road, broke the left front toe link, so he had to come down pit road and take his fast. So that's why Zach Maddox was running 14. He was running up front earlier, but now he's currently running 14th, 1 lap down. The rest of Gaffney currently our race leader, Kyle Klink, trying to chase him back down now. As the field starts to spread out just a little bit more, but right now, closest battle between Brendan Max, Daniel Jackson, it seems like, between those two drivers. Actually, Cody Dorsey now looking to the inside of Scott Gerber. Actually, Cody Dorsey a little bit of right front damage as well. Just good apologies for the lack of production. Producer currently have a department going through a fire drill, so that was really unfortunate timing for tonight. But still, everyone's kind of remaining chill so far. No major moves happening just of yet. Everyone's kind of staying around single file. Just a few tenths behind each other. Can't really find their way around with the dirty air. It's kind of what a lot is happening. As there's our producer. Welcome back, Talon Drake, to the booth. As Rusty Rafferty still our race leader, but so far everyone's staying nice and calm throughout this race so far here. Lap number 33 of the race. So Trevor's looking to go probably about 20 to 25 more laps until we'll start to see green flag stopped.
So pretty spread out, a few tenths of right up from each other. Kyle Schmitz, Derek Riley, the closest together, 7th and 8th there. As most of these drivers probably just riding around trying to save their tires, save their rear tires, especially. You got Phoenix, you know, that right rear can get pretty worn out and pretty loose off of these corners, especially when you're downshifting at your RPMs and whatnot.
Kyle Klink trying to hunt down that race lead of Rusty Rafferty, but right now Dakota Black getting around Scott Kerber there for that 12th place, 11th place spot. As these are two of our playoff drivers, Dakota Bly and Cody Dorsey. Cody Dorsey a little bit of left front damage, right front damage. So really interesting there for Cody Dorsey. I wonder if he picked that up on lap number 1, maybe got in the wall. But really most of our playoff drivers not running very well. Jason Bottoms qualified on pole, but kind of in mired back in traffic. He's worked his way up to 9th. But Alex Bonzo, our best runner of the Championship 5 drivers, and Kyle Schmitz, he's fallen back to 7th now. So Alex Bonzo are looking strong to start this first round of the championship round. So really looking good for Alex Bonzo tonight so far. We'll see how that plays out. A lot of factors can play. Still a long way to go, and many pit stops mistakes can happen. So we can see multiple different factors playing that tonight. Derek Riley trying to work that inside of Kyle Schmitz now. Schmitz really starting to struggle on these old tires. As Derek Riley now works the inside for that 7th place spot of Kyle Schmitz.
Schmitz hangs on for now, but Riley, big dog leg there, still side by side in turn number 1. There's a little slide job, maybe no, not quite. Jackson's also there as well, right in front of him.
Now Jackson just in front.
Slide line.
Kyle Schmitz will staying clear of Derek Riley.
Riley once again trying to go to the outside. Off of turn number 2, still side by side. Can he get by Schmitz here down in turn number 3 and 4? As he hits the outside wall there, oh, shoots it big time in the middle of the corner. He's going to slot down behind Schmitz once more. Riley stays behind in that 8th place spot for now. The battle for 3rd place, Alex Bonzo and Dustin Stallings side by side for the top 3 spot. Stallings on the inside, Bonsinger on the outside. Stallings slots in line behind Bonsinger.
Stallings staying in the 4th, trying to find his way around. Alex Bonsinger really starting to fall off now as he's falling back to 3rd. He's really falling off the race, our top 2 for the race lead. Just trying to fend off Dustin Stallings. Dustin Stallings getting on the wall there in turn number 1. He'll use it kind of to run the car there into turn number 2. Is he'll stay side by side. A little bit of contact. Ball's just going to go around on the back straightaway with Dustin Stallings. They're going to keep it straight. They're going to keep going, but that's going to be heavy damage to both those drivers.
Left front's broken, I think. It looks like the left front is broken.
Yeah, Dustin Stallings broken left front toe link there. That's going to be big problems.
Bosnia looks okay, obviously some damage, but nothing like Stalling. The Stallings up and out the pit here. Unscheduled pit stop for a 00 machine. Obviously there. We'll take a replay of that one.
They made a little bit of contact off turn number 2. Didn't really get a great angle, but it looked like they had to kind of looked like a little bit of net code. It was just slightly a little bit. You kind of see a little bit of a gap between. I saw for the front on shot a little bit better, but just unfortunate there for both those drivers. Just here, Dustin Stallings working the inside, gets to the inside here off turn number 2, and just. No, but Dustin Stallings, a little bit of contact, just that's all it took to send Alex Bonso around.
I think Stallings was going up a little bit more than Bonso there.
Bonso has heavy damage, but that'll put him behind Kyle Schmidt, so now that run for Alex Bonso was doing a lot better than our other playoff Championship 5 drivers. Now he's sitting there in second behind Kyle Schmidt, so only losing to one of them now. Still didn't lose too much time, but that's definitely damage you don't want to happen. I mean, he was sitting there in third. Really good. If that kind of kept the way it was going, he was going to really reap the benefits of a really good race tonight. He was able to have a really big buffer going into Talladega next week. Because mentioned, like I said earlier, you can't really have a bad race. So if you really get a good race and everyone else gets a bad one, I mean, you get that, especially with that big buffer. I mean, he can really afford a bad race at Talladega next week. Because Talladega, anything can happen. You can see one big wreck take out a lot of the drivers. So that could really could be make or break next week at Talladega.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Talladega, just the most wild card race easily on the 3-race schedule. And just anything can happen, like you mentioned, just like 1-2 bad wrecks and your championship hopes could be dashed.
See there on the right side of our screen, there's the current standings, how they run with the points. So the points will update automatically throughout the night, but pretty much since everyone's starting even tonight, it's pretty much wherever they finish is going to be where they are in the Championship 5 standings, as you can see. But you that gap will definitely be a lot bigger or smaller depending on kind of where they finish. Also, you could have a little different bonus points that could make a slight difference as well.
I believe bonus points are updated, so all the bonus points should be correct. So they should be your official standings, barring penalties or something else, but you get a bonus point for leading the most laps, leading no lap, and getting the fast lap in the race as well.
So far, none of our playoff drivers have been able to do that. As
yeah, Bonzano has, and so that's why he has one.
Sponsor has.
Yeah. Why he is.
Sponsor has one of our bonus points, but no other driver has been able to lead a lap other than Rusty Rafferty. He got the lead early from that lap, but instead of with Jason Bottoms, he has not looked back. So right now,
coming off pit lane. Right around lap 50.
Early pit stop here on lap 49. Kind of early stop.
Right around lap 50. I mean, yeah.
Early stop is, I believe we could easily make it about 55, so we should have no trouble still making two more stops from here on out.
Yeah, maybe just one undercut, didn't like where his tires were, maybe burnt them up a little bit too much, possibly. But
Dustin Stallings and Zach Maddox also came down pit road.
Bottoms there, slideways through 3 and 4 cold tires.
Yeah, also Brendan Max down pit road as well. Kyle Klink. So a lot of these drivers coming down pit road here early. Trying to run around that 51 lap mark. Maybe fuel might be a little bit shorter than we thought.
Remember, they were splitting up evenly as Rusty after down pit lane. And was little Daniel
so race leader down pit road. We'll see if Kyle Klink, the 1 lap undercut, if that will work. Kyle Schmidt stays down on the racetrack with Daniel Jackson. Jackson takes the race lead. As there goes Kyle Klink off the pit road. Alex Bonser coming into pit road there. So this could make a break with the race if you make a big mistake on and off pit road here. So where will Kyle Klink, where he cycle out compared to Rusty Rafferty? Rafferty still in his stall. There's Alex Bonser around the pit road there.
And Schmitz is going to lead a lap here, so he's going to get an extra bonus point as well. As he got around Jackson.
That works for Kyle Schmitz. As Rusty Rafferty coming off pit road. Where is Kyle Klink? Kyle Klink off through the dog leg. So Kyle Klink will inherit the race lead. As he really good pit stop for Kyle Klink compared to Rusty Rafferty. So Kyle Klink will be our net race leader.
So here comes Daniel Jackson down pit lane.
Oh, Rusty Rafferty hard to the inside wall on turn number 2.
I think that's that cold tires.
Loses it right
there.
on the cold tires and heavy damage.
Left front broken.
From the lead to pitting, and now a really tough incident there. That wheel is bent, bent pretty much sideways. He's gonna have to come down and take his fast repair. Really unfortunate for Rusty Rafferty. And that's gonna take him out of the running for this one pretty much. He's gonna have to hope for a caution. And some more, as he's going to definitely go more than 2 laps down, probably about 2 laps down here. Really unfortunate there for Rusty Rafferty. Kyle Schmitz, he just got passed by Kyle Klink. His Klink elapsed himself, but now Schmitz will come down pit road from the race lead. So doing a little bit of overcut compared to the rest of the field. So goes 55 laps. So a lot of the drivers undercutting it, kind of splitting it into 4, so everyone pitting around 50 laps. So far, Kyle Schmitz into pit road, but Kyle Klink looking like he'll inherit our race lead by a big margin now after that one. Brendan Maddox sitting there in second. So it looks like Brendan Maddox really good pit stop there. He'll cycle to second. Rusty Rafferty, after that incident, he just called it a night. So fortunate there for Rusty Rafferty. That will also solidify Kyle Klink as moving on to the semifinals for the bracket challenge for the non-playoff drivers. So Kyle Klink will either face Brandon Newton or Dustin Stallings next week at Talladega. Dustin Stallings currently sitting there in 3rd, and Brandon Newton sitting there in 11th. So Dustin Stallings in the lead for that one.
He has a really shakes things up. Here is Kyle Klink after the pit cycle takes the race lead, and Brendan Max will be second. They pit on the same lap, and they're 4 seconds apart here. So Klink, he dominated Iowa earlier this season. Kind of not really a similar racetrack, but shorter racetrack on the schedule. Iowa and Phoenix.
Kyle Klink been very dominant, especially in these longer runs, especially when they have to come to pit stops. Definitely one of those drivers to dominate really on that long run. We saw it at Iowa earlier this year, as you said, earlier this season. The whole entire race went green, and he lapped the field even by a lap and a half. So Kyle Klink definitely dominant at the short tracks and pretty much everywhere he goes and races. So Kyle Klink looking strong tonight, currently 3.5 seconds out in the race lead, but he's got Brandon Newton and Cody Dorsey to his inside and outside. They're 3 wide as Dorsey and Newton trying to unlap themselves. That's Kyle Klink. Almost gets tagged there by Brandon Newton. Newton will fall behind. Dakota Bly trying to find his way through as well. But the biggest the biggest shakeup through that whole pit stop cycle. Jason Bottoms pitted a few laps earlier than most of the other drivers. He now cycles to the lead of our Championship 5 drivers as he will take to 4th. Alex Bonchor falling back to 8th. He's now 3rd of our Championship 5 drivers. Kyle Schmitz sitting in 2nd. Yeah, he's trying to chase down Jason Bottoms, but Jason Bottoms, really good run. Really good pit stop. He'll cycle to the lead of our Championship 5 drivers. Well, Kyle Klink was trying to get the lap course, trying to unlap themselves there, staying a little bit, going out a little bit longer. As now that his gap for the race lead now down to only 2.6 seconds over Brendan Maddox. So Brendan Maddox pitting a little bit later, able to close the gap down a little bit with the overcut. So a lap or two later makes a difference, and also having a little bit of clean air, but now gap starts to widen back out just a tad bit. Jason Bottoms though, and Kyle Schmitz, this gap closing for that 4th place spot. Schmitz trying to find his way around Jason Bottoms. But this tells you how dominant and how fast Kyle Klink has been, and he's been able to survive with the other 2 drivers that have been up front with him. Alex Bonchor for Russell Rafferty being caught up in incidents onto this green flag run, unfortunately not getting cautions for their incidents. And now Kyle Klink, the only one survives of those drivers. He is now 12 seconds ahead of 3rd place. Only 2 seconds ahead of Brendan Maddox. So Brendan Maddox, another one of the dominant drivers tonight. He's been able to keep up with that pace. Right now it's still about half a tenth slower per lap over Kyle Klink, so he's starting to lose a little bit of time as well. Kyle Schmitz trying to close that gap in. He's working that outside lane, trying to get the clean air on the nose. So if you're working that outside lane too much, you'll definitely overheat your right side tires and your right front especially. But now here comes Schmitz to look to the bottom. It's the inside of Jason Bottoms. It's now Bottoms way up the racetrack. And that's going to give Kyle Schmitz that position as Jason Bottoms just overshot turn 3 there, went way up against the outside wall. So now Kyle Schmitz moves up to furthest. He's actually trying to chase down Dustin Stallings, and Stallings starting to fall back a little bit as well. So Kyle Schmitz looking strong here. He took the overcut there as Kyle Schmitz pitting on lap number 55. So Kyle Schmitz being strong early in this run.
There goes Derek Riley by Jason Bottoms as well. There for 5th. Bottoms on those older tires, kind of struggling here in the middle of the run as well.
Kyle's just going to stay inside of Dustin Stallings for that spot. He will take that spot away. So Dustin Stallings falls back to 4th there. And the turn at number 3. Kyle Schmitz holds to the race lead. Dustin Stallings sitting there in 4th now. Kyle Schmitz trying to chase down. Now he has a long big gap to try and chase down. If he wants to try and get up to Brendan Maddox or Kyle Klink. So far, Kyle Klink gaining his, lengthening his gap away, but Derek Riley coming along strong here. So the overcut really starting to come alive here as you start to see the drivers stay out a little bit longer, really work their way through the field. So it looks like the overcut really making a big difference. They're working in favor of the overcut here so far. Jason Bottoms, so that was the first driver to pit. He's now falling back. He's falling back to 7th. Cody Dorsey, the next driver to catch him, but also 7 seconds back, so a little bit farther back. Cody Dorsey now moving up to third place of our Championship 5. Alex Bonchor and Dakota Bly 9th and 10th. So Dakota Bly currently our worst running Championship 5 drivers. Yeah, but all 4 of them running next to each other, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th for 4 of those drivers. And Kyle Schmitz a few spots ahead. So Kyle Schmidt's having the night he needed. Derek Riley able to get by Dustin Stallings, Daniel Jackson as well to go around the outside off turn number 2, but now Derek Riley trying to hunt down that 19 machine of Kyle Schmitz into turn number 3. He's trying to search to the outside, trying to get some clear on the nose off of turn number 4. Derek Riley coming alive here, middle part of this run. As all the other Championship 5 drivers really hoping Derek Riley and other drivers can pass Kyle Schmitz to kind of close that gap up in the points. Derek Riley will work to the inside here off turn number 2. Side by side now for that 3rd place spot. It's that 3rd place position. There's 15 seconds out of the race lead, but Kyle Schmitz on the outside. He'll fall behind Derek Riley off turn 4. The run's going to be there for Schmitz, but he's not going to be enough to stay into the outside lane. As now, Derek Riley moves up to 3rd.
He's going to stay behind, but Brandon Max is closing the gap a little bit on Kyle Klink at now 3 seconds. It was 4 seconds, I believe, at the start of this run when I first saw, so we'll see if he can continue to close that gap. He has about 25 more laps. They'll probably pit around lap 100 like they did before, 100, 105 or so.
Yeah, probably expected to see probably pit every 50 laps, so pit a 50, 100, and 150. That's probably the expected number for most of these drivers to pit. But Daniel Jackson, he's trying to find his way by Kyle Schmitz as well. He's right behind it, right behind the 19 of Kyle Schmitz. Kyle Schmitz starting to struggle a little bit here to the middle part of this run. Trying to fall off a little bit. But only now it's kind of split off to about that a few tenths of a gap. Where the dirty air is just they can't kind of close within a couple tenths of each other. So have to really find their way by, get some air on the nose, make a mistake for the driver in front, and get the driver behind can find their way by that way. But definitely Phoenix, a tough place to pass. Now Kyle Schmitz, he's got a really good run off turn 4. He tries to look back to the bottom on Derek Riley. Derek Riley, though, able to hold on to that 3rd place spot. This is really the closest battle on the racetrack. Everybody else pretty big separated. Dakota just got a few laps to go. Spencer 1 lap down as well. Those two battling for the lucky dog. Multiple seconds to separate those drivers.
And also, Bonds are also on older tires compared to Bly as well, so most likely Bly is just going to be able to pull away with the lucky dog for now. But Cody Dorsey is next up on the chopping block for getting lapped by Kyle Klink.
Kyle Klink pretty much putting him down every single lap, losing that gap in. Extending his gap pretty much over the rest of the field as he is actually about 16 seconds ahead of 3rd on back. So Kyle Klink, another short track dominance like we saw at Iowa earlier this season. Lucky to do what he did at Iowa here at Phoenix and lap the entire field, but he's going to have a little bit of challenge with that one with Brendan Maddox. But Kyle Schmitz now fights back for that 3rd place spot. He actually gets by Derek Riley through the dog leg, but now Schmitz way up on the outside wall in turn number 1. They'll tag the wall just a little bit, but Riley fights back on the bottom. Derek Riley side by side for that 3rd place spot. Once again with Kyle Schmitz, he'll slot back in line though down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Daniel Jackson not too far behind. Dustin Stallings not too far behind either, but Stallings, remember he had that, I believe it was the left front broken, so he had to pit really early. So he's actually the first driver to pit 38 laps ago, so, and somehow he's still in 6th place even with having that broken tire, so he's had a good recovery drive from that moment, so we'll see what he can do in the longer run. Obviously, more than halfway left in this race, so still a long way to go as well.
Not gonna happen. We could see penalties for our top 2 that pretty much shakes up this entire race. Now you'd also see incidents just like that happen, or we could see a caution come out. We've seen one happen on lap number 1 early on That's been the only caution so far. Kyle Schmitz, though, sitting there in that third place spot, trying to hold it off now as he doesn't want to lose the spot to Derek Riley. So slowly losing time with the race leader lap by lap, but Derek Riley with a good drive through 3. Tries to almost gets to the nose to the outside of Kyle Schmitz. He'll fall, stay back in line. So they're both pulling away a little bit from Daniel Jackson.
So here comes Riley. Back to the inside.
Derek Riley fights back on the bottom. Yeah, really, he looks very good at getting the car turned through the center of the corner. Kyle Schmitz way up the racetrack into turn number 3. That's going to allow Derek Riley to the inside. Schmitz going to get a really good run, though. He might still be able to clear, and he will. But as I saw last time by there through 1 and 2, Derek Riley looks very strong getting that car turned through the center of the corner. It's allowed him to close that gap in. But Kyle Schmitz able to just maintain kind of better speed off the exit, able to just kind of stay away. And Derek Riley just can't find a lane to buy. Kyle Schmitz, good defense so far, able to hold on to third. That's now 17 seconds back to the race lead. As Kyle Blank, he's really closing that gap, and he's about to get to Cody Dorsey just a couple seconds behind him, putting him a lap down. So Kyle Blank, another strong performance again so far tonight. 3.5 seconds ahead of Brendan Maddox.
Yeah, Max is kind of hanging in there, though. And so if one of those drivers maybe undercuts, overcuts, could definitely see some change. And also pit road mistakes as well could definitely change. I mean, we saw Rusty Rafferty, he was leading, dominating to the next race, and out with the cold tires on straightaway.
Yeah, struggle with cold tires right off of pit road and ended up getting into it. But Derek Riley getting to the wall there in turn number 1. He's just kind of bounce the race car off the wall a little bit. Down in turn number 3. Schmitz still holds that third place spot. As Riley tries to fight to the outside now. He actually almost got the nose there, but he's starting to get really tight behind Kyle Schmitz. So I think that tire is starting to wear off now. Built a lot of heat of those tires, trying to fight his way by Kyle Schmitz with the dirty air, and now he's really starting to struggle. Now Kyle Schmitz pulling away from Derek Riley as he's really put that gap into Derek Riley in the last few laps. And you got Dustin Stallings now fighting the inside of Daniel Jackson for that 5th place spot. As actually Stallings able to just get by in there as soon as that happened. But Dustin Stallings now up to 5th, even having to hit that extra time there. Really good run for Dustin Stallings.
10 lap older tires than Jackson as well, so impressive that you could chase him down and get by him, move himself in the top 5 spot.
So far, Kyle Klink out to 3.7. Just slowly extending the gap out to Brendan Maddox. Just enough, but now really starting to see the gaps have really spread out now. No one really kind of close between each other. This was the closest battle on the racetrack, kind of between Dustin Stallings and Daniel Jackson, but Dustin Stallings pulling away from that now. Jason Bottoms and Cody Dorsey, that gap is closing down a little bit as well.
Yeah, Dorsey has about 8 lap fresher tires than Bottoms, so he's definitely closing the gap down here on that 5 machine. Bottom's very tough for turn number 2. There goes Dorsey to the inside. And almost clear out for turn number 4. Yes, he will. Bottom's out of the inside through the dog leg though. Try to take advantage of that one.
Bottom's just to fight back to the bottom, but Dorsey around the outside, able to take that spot away. Now Dorsey moves up to the second place championship 5 driver. Dustin Stallings down pit road here early. Car lap number 93. Let's see, maybe trying to play a different strategy, knowing he's gonna have need a pretty drastic strategy if he wants to get back up to the front.
Yeah, I mean, you did go 50 laps on those tires and I think a fuel, so just trying to pit a little earlier than maybe everyone else. At this rate, he won't be able to make it on one more stop. I mean, he'll have to go 55 laps at some point. As I think he may want to take red side tires there. Only 11-second pit stop there, and also I believe he may have only took rights. Yeah, right side tires only there for the 00 machine.
Okay, so that could definitely play a factor as well. 2 tires could work out. He's actually ahead of Kyle Klink already. So he just got his lap back already to Kyle Klink. Actually, he's 1 lap down, so he was about to go 2 down, but he stayed 1 down for taking 2 tires there. So we'll see if that helps him out. He still has to gain a lot of time. He's already really far back. He was already 18 seconds back out of the race lead, so he's got to make a lot of time back up if he wants to get anywhere close. 2 tires could work out. He'll probably gain about 7 seconds. But maybe not 7 seconds, but maybe about 2, 3, 4 seconds just taking 2 tires. So, I mean, if he does do that every pit stop and Kyle Klink takes 4 every pit stop and Stallings 6 times just maintain his gap, it could work out. He could gain, pretty much be within a couple seconds there by the end of it. We'll see if that works out. We could also see a caution. Still plenty of time for that to happen. Or maybe Kyle Klink makes a big mistake on pit road. Jason Bottoms put that pit road. One of the drivers pitted the pit early last time. The first driver of the pit, last pit stop. So he's gonna have to go a little bit longer on one of these runs. Eventually, he'll come out pit road. He'll be behind Dustin Stallings by a little bit. He's pretty much fighting Cody Dorsey, Dakota Bly, and Alex Bonsiorn, where he's fighting. He's pretty much trying to fight to be second of the playoff drivers because Kyle Schmitz is really far ahead. Cody Dorsey, he's been closing that gap a little bit to Daniel Jackson, so it's only about a second back from Daniel Jackson. So Cody Dorsey's coming alive here really late in this run. Jason Bottoms out, trying to work to the inside of Alex Bonsiorn. There goes Kyle Klink down pit road. Brendan Max right behind him as well, so we can see Brendan Max. We'll see if he takes maybe 2 tires, try to jump in front of Kyle Klink on pit road here.
Look into his stall. We'll see here. What is this strategy call? I'm expecting just 4 tires, most likely, and a full tank of fuel. Nothing too risky as we just reached the halfway point in this one.
Kyle Klink, he'll stay. He'll get off pit road. He'll take 4 tires and a full tank of fuel. Same with Brendan Maddox. Brendan Maddox will look pretty strong on pit entry there. Looks like he closed it just a tad bit. Maybe he closed the gap just a tad bit there to Kyle Klink through pit road.
Now the gap's only 1.5, so quite a bit. He closed about 1.5 seconds and coming out with the lap traffic on cold tires.
I think Maddox also had a little bit shorter line there through pit road. I believe they have to kind of stay up
Max
through the league rules, but
he definitely gained a lot of time on Klink though.
Showing a little bit there on the cold tires, but he's able to hold on. But they're actually fighting through this back pack already as the drivers who didn't pit. There's Dustin Stallings, he's about a half a lap behind, so Dustin Stallings closed the gap down a little bit for sure, but he's going to still be way far behind. Kyle Schmidt's currently our race leader, trying to get some extra laps led. Kyle Klink is currently our race leader, or currently our net race leader, about 1.5 seconds ahead of Brendan Maddox, his second. He's just that net second place driver. Daniel Jackson, he's now down pit road. So definitely come out behind Dustin Stallings. We'll see if Dustin Stallings slowly falls back to Daniel Jackson throughout this run, as Daniel Jackson was battling with Dustin Stallings there at the late of that second run. Kyle Schmidt's still staying out on the racetrack right now, maybe just trying to hope for a caution here. He's been able to go much longer though, so we'll see if the overcut, how much he'll gain with the overcut compared to everyone else he was around. As Derek Riley's right behind him, this is the current battle for the race lead, so Dustin Stallings though right behind him, trying to unlap himself. As Riley sitting in second, Kyle Schmidt's our race leader. And now Kyle Schmidt's Derek Riley, they're both going to dive into the apron in turn number 1. They'll both come down pit road here off of turn number 2. As Alex Sponsor does as well, just on the lead lap. See how well they can, who will be able to be the fastest on pit road between Derek Riley and Kyle Schmidt. Kyle Schmidt overshot the stall. So Schmidt overshot the stall just a little bit. So Riley to have a better pit stop, so we'll see this the battle for third. And Riley able to get the better of Kyle Schmidt off pit road, so that's the battle for net third place position. Cody Dorsey currently our race leader. Kyle Klink already cycled back to second. He's trying to chase down Cody Dorsey now, but I think Cody Dorsey gonna have to come down pit road here within the next 2-3 laps, and he comes down pit road now. So that means Kyle Klink will cycle to the race lead here. But Kyle Schmidt's actually just barely on the lead lap. Same with Derek Riley, so that overcut lost him a lot of time. As Kyle Klink now passes those drivers to put him a lap down. It's Kyle Klink back to the race lead, but Derek Riley and Kyle Schmidt's. So, oh my God, Derek Riley around on the front straightaway, hard on the inside wall of the dog leg. And big damage to the 17 machine on cold tires, catching another driver off guard. I think they're just going over the dog leg, just the bumps, especially with the cold tires, just unfortunate timing there. Just lost it through the dog leg, wow, just maybe a little bit too aggressive on the wheel there.
Definitely have to take a fast spurt down pit lane. It's Cody Dorsey off of pit lane right now. He's going to slot himself into the 7th on the racetrack behind Daniel Jackson, and that's our second pit cycle complete.
And that also helps Jason Bottom. That helps Jason Bottoms, Cody Dorsey, and the other playoff drivers, because now that gives them an extra spot between Kyle Schmidt's that they had. Actually, Kyle Schmidt's staying out that longer. He's actually behind Jason Bottoms through that overcut. So Jason Bottoms took a really big undercut, actually pitted pretty much about 10 laps earlier than Kyle Schmidt and Derek Riley, but now Kyle Schmidt's the only one surviving of those two. But Kyle Schmidt's 10 lap fresher tires. We'll see how well he can get by Jason Bottoms. But Derek Riley getting out of the incident there, that's gonna allow the other playoff drivers to close the gap in between Kyle Schmidt. So that's just hurting Kyle Schmidt's more and more people that wreck out. This gives the other playoff drivers more spots to take advantage of. Right now, Jason Bob is trying to fight back and to stay on the lead lap. And now, oh, big check up there for Kyle Schmitz. You see, he had to check behind Jason Bottoms as Kyle Klink went around the outside. So now only 3 drivers left on lead lap. Dustin Stalling 17 seconds ahead. So he actually is the only driver to maintain this gap there. Everyone else going farther down as Kyle Klink a little bit undercut. And now everyone's battling with each other. So now Kyle Schmitz down on the bottom of Jason Bottoms. Alex Bonsier on the outside lane trying to find his way around the outside. The long way around. Dakota Blythe not able to make that happen, but this is also hurting Brendan Maddox as Brendan Maddox was trying to get through this traffic to chase down Kyle Klink. But now Kyle Schmitz moves up to 4th. Kyle Schmitz trying to chase down Kyle Klink now. He's trying to unlap himself. He is the lucky dog if there was a caution to happen, but you already want to be on the lead lap. You have to take the lucky dog, the free pass. You're gonna have to restart the tail of the lead lap car, the lap cars that do pit. What takes the wave around, and they'll have to line up behind you, but I have to expect a lot of these guys 1 lap down, they'll stay out to take the wave around right now.
Yeah, the tires aren't too old right now, probably around 10 to 15 or so laps in most of the field. Right now, I think this race really could come on the strategy call with Kyle Klink and Brendan Max for the race win. Undercut, overcut, and who can get on pit lane quicker and who can get off pit lane quicker. And who can get those tires warmed up as quick as possible as well. I think those couple of things will really factor in tonight's race winner.
Yeah, especially if we could see some drivers take 2 or 4 tires, that could change the difference as well. So how this plays out between these 2 drivers, they're both looking for the race win. Both of them also try to win their bracket challenges. Kyle Klink's already won that. It's just you're opting out of this race early. You're opting out of this race after his incident. So Brendan Maddox and Dustin Stallings, they're 2nd and 3rd, but that gap is massive. But those 2 are battling also to move on to the semifinal to face Kyle Klink next week at Talladega for the bracket challenge of the non-playoff drivers. So that's what Stallings is trying to fight for, but he's really far off Brendan Maddox. But Kyle Klink, he's kind of staying right behind Kyle Schmitz, staying right behind Kyle Klink. Looks like he can't find his way by with the dirty air, so the overcut not making a big difference for Kyle Schmitz right now. Working really well for Kyle Schmitz. Is Jason Bottom as actually right now Kyle Schmitz, Jason Bottom, Cody Dorsey, all 3 Championship 5 drivers, 4th, 5th, and 6th there, and Alex Bonsier and Dakota Blythe sitting 8th and 9th. So only the Championship 5 only separated by Daniel Jackson. Alex Bonsier 1 lap down, about to get 2, and Dakota Blythe is 2 laps down. So just those 2 not having the race they wanted tonight. Alex Bonsier was running really well, but then had an incident off turn number 2.
Here comes Dustin Stallings on pit lane.
With Dustin Stallings. And Dustin Stallings got very early, so...
I wonder if he have some sort of incident or very early pit stop. He won't be able to make it on a 1-stop race. He'll have to pay at least 1 more time.
It's going to be a Hail Mary strategy here for Dustin Stallings.
I mean, he's trying to...
tires. I don't think the tire wear is going to be enough, but he can try something
different, I guess. I mean, at this point, nothing to lose. He's not in the championship battle, so...
He thought that he was already losing time how it was, so. Stallings, he'll cycle back out tonight, so he's only 2 laps down. Kyle Klink, though, about to put Alex Bonsior a 2nd lap down, as now it's only 1 driver on the lead lap other than Kyle Klink, and that's Brendan Maddox 2 seconds back. Everyone else 1 lap down. Kyle Smith's trying to get his lap back as he took the overcut pit strategy. Kyle Klink, dominant performance tonight. Pretty much repeating Iowa you saw earlier in the season. Link holds the lead, but Schmitz is right behind him to get his lap back. Schmitz got his lap back and got a caution. That would be big because he would not have to start behind the little lap cars that don't take the wave around. There was a caution, but so far we're looking to spread out. I mean, this is really our closest cars on the racetrack right now. It is between these 4 drivers trying to fight back to get their lap back. And here comes Dustin Stallings flying through there. It's actually going to take that spot away from Alex Bonsior. It's that battle for that 7th place spot, so it'll take that spot away. Now he's just to cut back under Kyle Schmitz, but Dustin Stallings making an extra stop there, so I'll have to make one more stop in this race as well. So Dustin Stallings, the extra pit stop strategy, we'll see if it works out for him. Maybe he can gain a little bit of time, just maybe a Hail Mary strategy to try and gain some time on Brendan Maddox.
Yeah, I mean, Brendan Maddox, I mean, he's kind of... I mean, they both have to make one more pit stop, so if he can catch up to him relatively somewhat quickly, maybe, but still, it's going to be there's about 20 laps of fresher tires, or 30 laps of fresher tires or so. It's going to be very, very tough to do.
He pretty much has to make up a lap and a half, a little bit more than that, and he also has to, I mean, he pretty much going to have to make up 3 total laps because he's going to have to lose another lap and a half on pit road. So I don't know if that'll really work out for Dustin Stallings, but maybe if he catches a caution at the right time, he could be on a little bit better tires as well. So I mean, we could see how this plays out. I don't think he'll unlap himself, Kyle Klink, to get back on the lead lap. I think it's just a little bit too much to ask for. I mean, I kind of see a strategy here. Maybe Dustin Stallings, maybe make that early pit stop. I mean, right now he probably at this pace he will cycle. Because I mean, Kyle Klink and Brendan Maddox still have to pit in 20. They can only really pit about 15 laps. At the earliest, they have to go about 15 more laps. So I mean, Dustin Stallings, if he can make up a lot of time here, 15 laps, he might be able to cycle out in front of them for maybe just a few laps. If he gets a caution at the right time, and it kind of forces their hand to pit again, I mean, that could work out for Dustin Stallings. I mean, he's banking on a caution at the perfect, in a pretty much a 10-lap window of time. He's pretty much hoping for a caution. I mean, we could see it happen, but this could really work out for Dustin Stallings. So we'll see how that plays out. Wait, how much time will he gain? He had to make up about 16 seconds, though, on Brendan Maddox. I don't know if it'll really work out, but... He pretty much had third cycle locked up, too, as well, but he had to try anything to catch Brendan Maddox and Kyle Klink. I mean, I think if he gets within about a lap and a half, he will get out in front of Brendan Maddox.
The
So we'll see
problem
how
is,
much
though,
time he can gain.
still has to pit as well, so it's just gonna be, I mean, right now he's about, it's just gonna be very tough. He's almost 40 seconds back. Now, he might be ahead of him when he pits, but he also has to pit one more time as well. So I mean, maybe he'll sort of caution late in the race, possibly. I mean, if caution was out late, Stallings would be in a good spot as well. It could be, yeah. I mean, it's gonna be very interesting. Well, we've seen those cold tires. You know, cautions could happen at any moment once those drivers come out pit lane. We've seen it multiple times tonight. Those cold tires have cut out a lot of great drivers here tonight.
He's pretty much banking on this like kind of 10-lap window after Kyle Klink and Brendan Maddox pit. If he can gain enough time here, make an extra pit stop to maybe cycle out in front of them, maybe just behind him, and it kind of gets that window. He can, close that gap in. If he can just try and get out in front and get to caution at the right time, and it kind of forces them to pit as well, or if they don't pit, if they have enough laps on their tires, so maybe that give him an advantage. But he's pretty much playing, just banking on a caution here in the middle of pit cycles. Too much just Stallings is kind of banking on here. Right now, he is kind of staying around about a lap and 3/4 behind, so I don't really know if that will work out as best as he hoped to, as best as possible, but we'll see how that works out. Kyle Schmidt, so he's still hounding that back bumper of Kyle Klink, trying to get his lap back, but he's just stuck right behind him, can't do anything. But really, that battle for the race win is going to be determined here on this final pit stop. That's Brendan Maddox. He was a little bit faster on pit road last time by. Just maybe he tried to take 2 tires. That could be a play to try and get out in front of Kyle Klink. I mean, I'll gain about 2-3 seconds, so that will be just to be able to put him about a second out in front. But will the 2 tires hold on for the entire run? So far, Klink dominant so far. He has multiple wins on the season. Actually, there's 1 win on the season. It's at Iowa.
Right now, the points battle though is still very close. I mean, only 6 points separates first and fifth, so it'll be a very close points battle going to Talladega if everything stands relatively the same.
Just gonna walk through those Championship 5 and how they got here throughout this season. As currently our best running Championship 5 driver is Kyle Schmitz. Currently sitting in third place position. We're 1 lap down right now, but Kyle Schmitz 1 win on the season at Indianapolis earlier this season. He has 13 top 10s, 9 top 5s. And started every race so far this season. Been able to make his way into the Championship 5. Next driver running, sitting in 4th is Cody Dorsey. Cody Dorsey, 2 wins of the season. Won two of the first 3 races, so he won the back-to-back Rockingham and Legacy, Texas, Cody Dorsey. And he's not been back to victory lane since. He's had 14 top 10s and 9 top 5s, so he's been kind of the best of those Championship 5 drivers. Top 10, top 5 wides, and the win wide. So Cody Dorsey kind of the best of those Championship 5 drivers so far this season. But he's kind of really been struggling these past few weeks. He's not been up front a lot as he was at the very start of the season. So Cody Dorsey just trying to get some momentum back going, and this definitely helped him as he's sitting there in 4th. It's been his best run in a while. That's that.
Jason Bottom just came out pit lane.
Jason Bottom's down pit road early, so he's one of the drivers to been pitting early all race long. Is he's going to be right on that number of making it to the finish
Very
here.
close, yeah. But he is 1 lap down, so. So coming up pit lane, it'll be 54 laps to go. So technically you have to do 1 last lap to the leader.
Yeah, that works out for Jason Bottom, so it's 2 laps down now after that one, but we'll see when does Kyle Klink and Brendan Maddox pit, and will Dustin Stallings maybe hop out in front of him for just a second? I don't think he will. I think he's just a little bit too far back. But Dustin Stallings is pretty much hoping he gets a caution right when he jumps up in front of them if he can. He's gonna have to make an extra pit stop regardless, so. It's gonna pretty much come down between those 2 drivers, but Cody Dorsey, our second running playoff driver so far. Our 3rd best playoff driver is Alex Bond Jr. He was already up front, had an incident. They bring in a caution, lost him a lot of time, and ended up falling him back a little bit. And he's sitting 3rd of our best of our playoff drivers. He has a win on the season. Does not have a win on the, has not got a win this season. He's had 9 top 10s and 6 top 5s. He's able to make his way into the playoffs.
It's Kyle Klink into his box there. Oh, he had a backup. Kyle Klink had a backup on his pit box.
They heard him there. That allows Brendan Maddox to close the gap in.
The Max coming up pit lane right now as well. So 4 tires and a full tank of fuel for Klink. That could cost him a second or so on the racetrack. That little mistake.
That could cost him enough time, but where's Dustin Stallings come out in compared to Kyle? I just want to see if Dustin Stallings, even if the extra pit stop, if he made enough time. No, he did not. He did not make nearly enough time. Still, I mean,
no, Max come out. He's coming out right now. He took 2. He took 2.
Brendan Maddox taking 2 tires. That's going to help him as he'll jump in front of Kyle Klink. This is going to be the battle for the race win. This could work out. I mean, we'll see if Kyle Klink on the 4 tires, is it going to be enough? Can he close the gap in? Still a long way left to go in this race. Still 50 laps. He's got plenty of time to close that gap in. But will the 4 tires, will they be faster? We're working through a little bit of traffic here of Zachary Maddox and Daniel Jackson, but Kyle Klink losing the net race lead to Brendan Maddox. Brendan Maddox taking 2 tires on the final stop. Will it pay off? That's the question. He's got about a 1.5 second gap. But also, I have this moment, we'll mention our final playoff driver out of the 5 that we kind of been running through to Gato Bly. I mixed him up with Cody Dorsey, but he's not been having the run he's been hoping for as of recently. He has 14 top 10s and 8 top 5s. But he's really been trying to build some momentum back as well, as Gato Bly has no wins on the season as well. So 2 winless drivers in the championship 5. So far, Kyle Schmitz holding the race lead. They're going to lie down pit road. Kyle Schmitz, our net race leader, or leader for now, will have to pit. He's always been pitting a little bit later, taking the overcut of these drivers.
Max closing on Cody Dorsey. Dorsey's still out in the pit here as well. He's within about 1 second of that 9 machine.
Holding the net race lead. He's sitting in second. Try to chase down Kyle Schmitz before maybe even Schmitz has the pit, but Schmitz holding the race lead, hoping for a caution here. So he may maybe cycle back on the race lead. Dorsey has the same as well, but Dorsey now in pit road. But does Brendan Maddox, does he have, will the two tires hold on compared to Kyle Klink? Will he be able to save his tires as best as Kyle Klink? Kyle Schmitz down pit road, so that'll cycle. Brendan Maddox to the race lead. Kyle Klink will cycle to second. Last time by, Maddox ran at 26.995. Klink ran at 27.310, so it's a bit slower for Kyle Klink that last time by, but he had to work his way by Scott Kerberg. So both the drivers have clean air. So we'll see, can Kyle Klink, can the 4 tires be better in the tail end of this run to close that gap in?
It's a big
Can
thing.
Kyle Klink take advantage of the 4 tires?
Yeah, we'll definitely see the difference in a longer run, I would say. I mean, 2 seconds is the gap. We'll see if that closes down in these next 40 laps or so.
It's
Still
been
a long way
extending
to
out a
go.
little bit the past few laps. So this time by, we'll see 40 laps to go here at Phoenix. I want to cycle through to pit road, through the pit stops. So now Brendan Max takes 40 laps to go. We're gonna take this moment. We're doing Ellerin. Crank it up here from Phoenix. Welcome back from our Crank It Up segment, and very big news. Brendan Maddox from the race lead as throughput from the session. Really unfortunate timing, just absolute. That's actually unfortunate timing for Brendan Maddox. That was he was actually holding off there for the 2 tires, but throughput from the race lead for Brendan Maddox, and now that gives Kyle Klink a lap lead over the rest of the field.
Yeah, I mean, wow, that's absolutely heartbreaking here for that 11 machine. I mean, at worst, he would finish seconds, even if Kyle Klink got by him. I mean, wow, with 27 laps to go, that has to be heartbreaking for that 11 machine.
And also, that helps Sustin Stallings, because now that gives him the bracket challenge win over that. So really unfortunate timing, and wow, so that means Kyle Klink is pretty much going to win this race if we stay green to the finish. Pretty much a caution will pretty much, unless he gets a caution. And it's back to what it was in Iowa.
Yeah, I mean, lap lead over the whole field. Coming to 25 to go this time by. The only thing Kyle Klink does not want to see is that yellow flag come out.
And Kyle Klink, just as long as he stays near to the finish, he's got this one wrapped up. Wow, really unfortunate timing for Brendan Maddox there. Just had the 2 tire call, it was gonna work out. I mean, he was pulling away from Kyle Klink. And his internet takes him out of it. But Kyle Klink now holds the lead by a lap over Kyle Schmitz. Cody Dorsey in 3rd though, so really good drive for Cody Dorsey. He's been able to work his way from the back, just kind of stay in it, run his own race, make no mistakes, and now he's going to be sitting in 3rd, to be right behind Kyle Schmitz for that battle for the championship. So he's just staying well within the points battle. Jason Bottoms, the next playoff driver, sitting in 6th. Alex Bunch, in 7th, Dakota Light in 8th, so everyone's going to stay relatively close throughout. Definitely going into Talladega next week. Talladega is going to be a big shake-up. Anything can happen at Talladega. It'll really shake up a lot of these points battles.
Schmitz might have some lap traffic he might have to deal with here, as Scott Kerberg has a little bit fresher tires than him, so Schmitz might be being passed through by lap traffic, which could allow Cody Dorsey to close down the gap even more here in these closing laps.
And also Cody Dorsey, if he's able to get by and this caution comes out, that's going to be the battle between who can pretty much get on the lead lap. Because, I mean, if they'll have to take the free pass, but unless everyone else takes the way around, so still they'll be on a deficit of tire wear. That'll definitely hurt a lot of those drivers. So pretty much when caution comes out, it's gonna be a fight for that free pass spot. All right, now everyone's really spread out so far. I mean, it's really the closest 2 cars on the racetrack. As Kerber on the pressure tires trying to find his way by, not really able to. Kyle Schmitz holding on to 2nd. Kyle Klink now 18 laps to go. He's trying to close out another one. He dominated Iowa. He's been close to winning many other races this season. He's been dominant a lot of these races. Just wasn't able to close them out. Now, this is his opportunity to close out again. Kyle Klink looking to take this one again and dominate. I mean, and both his wins, if he closes this one out, both his wins were won by a margin of a lap. So he's won it in a dominant fashion. He's definitely been dominant tonight, but that strategy just wasn't going to play out to the end until Brendan Maddox, unfortunately, threw put from the race lead. It would have been, I mean, you never would have known. Anything could happen in this final 15, 20 laps. He could have maybe closed the gap in a little bit on the 4 tires, but he was losing a little bit of time to Brendan Maddox before Brendan Maddox threw put the session. That pretty much gave Kyle Klink this race win, as he's a lap ahead of the field. I mean, as long as there's no caution, and as long as he doesn't wreck or throughput himself, he's got this race win in the bag. Just 15 more laps, each lap feeling longer and longer. I bet, as that's just always happens. His lap machine of Jason Bonham, trying to put Jason Bonham's 2 laps down here. This could also be big, because if he puts Jason Bonham's 2 laps down here, there is a caution. There's only 2 playoff drivers that possibly could be on the lead lap by the end of this one, so. That could pretty much, if there was a caution, that could pretty much force all these drivers to not be able to gain any more spots. Kyle Klink, he'll clear Jason Bottoms and put him 2 laps down. It's Cody Dorsey trying to close the gap down to Kyle Schmitz. Hasn't been able to get within probably about half a second. Actually, Dustin Stallings has to make an extra pit stop still. But actually, no, he did pit on lap 152, so he already made his final stop. Actually, kind of a battle for ninth could be shaping up between Scott Kerberg and Derek Riley. They're right behind Jason Bottoms, Cody Dorsey. As Daniel Jackson now closing the gap on Dustin Stallings. A little bit of different tire disadvantage for Dustin Stallings here, down in the turn number 3. Daniel Jackson will work to the bottom. This is that 4th place spot. And he will easily clear for that position. So now Daniel Jackson moves up to 4th. You'll see there's our current standings, how they run of the championship 5. It's that points gap will stay between Talladega next week and Homestead, and we'll crown a champion in 2 weeks at Homestead. This time by is 8 laps to go for Kyle Klink. Well, Kyle Schmitz. It looked like it at the very start. It looked like it was going to be a Alex Bonsior night of the Championship 5. But it quickly changed up with Bonsior had contact early in the race and put him out and lost a lot of time. And now the Bonsior ended up going to finish last of our playoff drivers. And now Kyle Schmitz looked like he was going to run away with it for the championship 5, but now Cody Dorsey joined him up front, and he's right behind him. So Kyle Schmitz, Cody Dorsey both going to have pretty solid nights there as well. Jason Bottoms took it a while, now Sponsorn just 3 spots back, as those 3 are each 1 spot away from each other as well. So Sponsor, though, he does have the fastest lap of the night, so that'll give him that extra bonus point. That could help him not lose as many points compared to the rest. He's only 1 point behind Jason Bottoms to Dakota Bly. This time by will be 5 laps to go, but Cody Dorsey hounding that back one for the 19 machine, trying to get an extra spot here. This could be the battle. This will be the battle for the points lead going into Talladega next week. It's not really going to be a very big margin, but these two going to be battling for that spot. They're not too far behind our race leader of Kyle Klink, but they're a lap behind him, so not too far back on track. But 4 laps to go for Kyle Klink. Kyle Schmitz just trying to stay in front of Cody Dorsey. Dorsey really drives in it deep into turn number 1, actually gets to the outside wall, but he seems a little bit faster than Kyle Schmitz here the last few laps. Cody Dorsey really looking good, looking strong in this final part of this run, the final part of this race. This time by will be 3 laps to go. We will have the championship lead going into Talladega next week. Will be Kyle Schmitz or will it be Cody Dorsey? Dorsey trying to fight on the bottom, looking like he's got a little bit more rotation. Those tires start to grip a little bit better. But 2 laps to go this time by as Kyle Klink 1 lap ahead of him. 2 to go for Cody Dorsey. Can he close the gap down into Kyle Schmitz? As the gap is close, but I don't know if he'll be able to close the gap there enough. But this time by will be 1 lap to go. White flag in the air for Kyle Klink. The battle for second right behind him on the racetrack, but Cody Dorsey on the outside wall. But Kyle Klink, our race leader, he dominated pretty much the entire race once again, just like Iowa earlier in the season. Yeah, the battle with Brendan Maddox this time. The strategy paid off for it eventually, as Brendan Maddox unfortunately threw putting there late, but Kyle Klink, a dominant fashion once again off of turn number 4. He's going to win at Phoenix. Kyle Schmitz will hold on to second, and Kyle Schmitz will be your championship leader heading into Talladega next week for a championship 5. But Kyle Klink, by 1 whole lap again, wins for the Undisputed Cup Series, and he will move on to the semifinals for the non-playoff drivers bracket. Kyle Klink wins the MyMomsAddictions 200. They will park it into victory lane. Doing a victory lap now, going all the way back around the racetrack. Kyle Klink. Park it right there on the back straightaway. He's gonna turn it around. I think he wants to get into victory lane, to find victory lane. But Kyle Klink, our race winner, gets his 2nd win of the season. And he's done it by an entire lap on the field. Dominant performance tonight. There's going to be a really good battle to see between him and Brandon Maddox. With the 4 tires wouldn't have worked out. He was losing time, but I don't really know what would have happened to those final 15, 20 laps before that happened. But Kyle Klink, our race winner here from Phoenix, and he's also missed the turn into victory lane. So Kyle Klink, he'll find the turn into victory lane there, and he'll park the 31 machine into one of the very few tracks that you can park it into victory lane. He'll park it into victory lane here at Phoenix. And while Kyle Klink goes and celebrates, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here for Top 8 Interviews. I forgot the lighting's really shit.
Hey guys, this is Kevin from KK Woodscapes, and we just wanted to say how excited we are to be sponsoring the Undisputed Cup Series this season for the championship trophy. And also, we are looking forward to working with you guys. Hopefully, we can bring your virtual victories into reality this season. And you can reach out to me on Discord, or you can scan the QR code below, and it'll take you to our Instagram page where you can see all the work we've done over the years. Thank you guys, and good luck this season.
Welcome back here to Phoenix. He's just wrapped up the 200-mile event here tonight. As before we get started talking interviews, let's take a look at our results for tonight's Mom's Addiction 200. As Kyle Klink, a dominant performance, wins by a lap, just like he did at Iowa earlier this season. As Kyle Schmitz will pick up second. Finishing third tonight is the 9 machine of Cody Dorsey. Daniel Jackson picking up fourth. Dustin Stallings round of the top 5 is Dakota Bly finishing 6th, Alex Bonsor finishing 7th, Mason Biles in 8th, Derek Riley in 9th, Scott Kerber rounds out our top 10. Finishing 11th tonight is the 3 of Brandon Newton, Brendan Maddox finishing in 12th from through-putting from the lead with 29 laps to go. Zach Hernandez finishing 13th, Zach Maddox finishing 13th, and Rusty Graffiti rounds out our 14-car field here tonight. That in front in dominant fashion. Once again, it was Kyle Klink able to pick up his second win of the season. How's it feel?
It almost doesn't feel like a win because Brendan Maddox there, until I'm going to chalk it up as a mechanical failure he had me beat. I made a mistake on pit road. He took over and he had a mechanical failure, and I guess I just backed into this one.
Yeah, but you're able to get the win, and you also had the bracket challenge as you are facing Rusty Rafferty tonight. But Rusty Rafferty out earlier in the race, and you're able to kind of settle in and kind of relax in the final half of that race on the bracket side of things. But you're moving to Talladega next week, and moving into the semifinals. You'll face Dustin Stallings there. So how are you going to be able to what's your game plan heading into next week for that, and able to try and move on to the finale at a Homestead?
The game plan is to get my teammate, I think, as many points as he can get, and while we're drafting, hopefully get the spot on Dustin. So we'll just have to wait and see, and it'll definitely be a team game. I'm hoping to have both my teammates there, and we'll just see where the cards fall.
Yeah, but you're able to pick up the race win here tonight at Phoenix. But before you send it off on our way, any sponsors would you like to thank for tonight's race?
I don't have any sponsors. As you can see, my car is the no sponsor car, so I'd like to thank my no sponsors, but I'd also like to thank the sponsor of the series, I think Smack and Sunflowers, and the booth, you guys for doing all the work that you do, and the admins for putting this on. This has been a great time. Thank you very much.
And once again, congrats on your race win. We'll see you next week at Talladega.
Thank you, Aaron.
So that was our race winner of Kyle Klink. We'll bring in our second place finisher of Kyle Schmitz. Kyle Schmitz able to pick up second. You didn't get the win. You also have one lap down, but most importantly, you're able to beat all the other playoff drivers tonight. So a very solid second place run for you tonight. Kind of what was your game plan going into the night? Kind of with the mind on the playoffs.
Game plan: stay out of everybody else's mess. That first accident that happened was at lap 1, lap 2, whatever. Scared me. Happened right in front of me. I don't know who was behind me. Maybe the 14 got into me just a smidge. That one was a little pucker moment. I was just trying to stay out of everybody's way. I felt real slow in practice, felt slow in qualifying, and then just kind of had long run speed and kept my nose clean until the last 20 laps when Cody started reeling me in, started trying to knock the wall down a little bit. But all in all, pretty good. I stayed ahead of the other playoff guys, so should be maybe 1 point up on Cody. So that's what I'm here for.
And that'll definitely give you just a slight advantage, but you got the points lead going into the Talladega next week. And as we all know, Talladega, anything can happen at a super speedway. So what's your game plan going into the next week at Talladega? How are you going to try and maybe extend your points lead?
Usually super speedways, I'm pretty passive, timid, just kind of hang out. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try to be up in the front the whole time, so I'm not in the middle of the accident. I'd rather be ahead of it than in the middle of it. So I do think next week is going to be more important than the last week. You can lose a lot of points at Talladega. So hopefully stay ahead of it all, not mess up on pit road like I do every single week, and not let Kyle lap me at a super speedway.
But yeah, next week at Talladega, I think it'll be a big challenge. It'll definitely be exciting to watch all the playoff drivers the fight for that next week. Well, 40% off on the way. Any sponsor to thank for tonight's second place run?
Yeah, absolutely. MyMomsAddictions on eBay. This was the MyMomsAddictions 200. If you guys go there, we have a lot of NASCAR memorabilia and diecast and all types of stuff. I kept a bunch of stuff when my mom passed away, and I'm trying to get rid of it now because it was a bad decision on my behalf. So go check it out. Also, Spare Parts Gaming Community. We race iRacing and on Xbox. Do all types of stuff throughout the week. So also you for broadcasting. Thanks for the title sponsors and everything for the league. It's been a blast so far.
Hey, once again, congrats on your second place finish. We'll see you next week at Talladega.
Cool. Thanks, Aaron. Have a good one.
So it was our second place finisher of Kyle Schmitz. We'll bring in our third place finisher of Cody Dorsey. Just able to not just lost out to second there at the bit. Couldn't close the gap in. What do you think you could have done differently there? Maybe take that second place spot away.
If I didn't get caught up in that first lap wreck, that really kind of set me back to start the race. I didn't take my fast repair, so I kind of rode around with a damaged car for that whole first stint, and I think that's where I lost a good bit of my pace. I noticed I had a pretty decent long pace car because I noticed I was kind of catching them guys and stuff, and I just run the stint a little bit longer to try to get a little tire advantage on them, and it was working. But that last stint, I had to get close to Kyle Schmitz, so I just went ahead and undercut him by a lap to see if I can reel him in. But he held it good. He had a good pace and stuff. I just couldn't get him. I don't even know if a few more laps I could have got him. He deserved second, and Klink deserved the win for sure.
And you got that second place finish out of the playoff drivers. So you're going to be just slightly behind Kyle Schmitz heading into Talladega next week. But what's your game plan going into Talladega next week? And just how you're going to be able to try and just stay out of trouble and just not lose as many points compared to the others if you just trying to stay out of that big incident that could really end your championship run.
Talladega, in my opinion, will be where the champion is probably decided, because if you can stay clean and you finish the race, I say you'll be pretty set up going into Homestead. If you have a bad race, I mean, it's going to be tough sledding to get back at Homestead. Like I said, depending on how many we have showed up and stuff, I mean, points are very critical. And, I mean, it's hard. Like I said, I mean, I'm happy just to be within 1 point of him because, like, at one point, I think I was buried in the field, and I didn't even think I'd be this close heading into Talladega. So I run decent at plate tracks, so I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we can figure out something, get a couple guys work together, and try to, be at least have a contention. As long as I'm in contention at the end and finish the race, that's all I'm looking for.
We're still able to pick up a very solid third place finish tonight. Before we send off on the way, any sponsors to thank for tonight's race, third place run?
Yeah, I want to thank you and Talon for what you guys do up in the booth. We really appreciate you guys. Gotta thank our title sponsor, Quantum. We couldn't do a lot of things without them. Same thing with the Burlington Cafe. They really helped us out this year. Kevin Kyle with his KK Woodscapes. He sponsors our trophies and stuff. He's a really good guy. StubHub, Admin Box, and Smackin'. And I got to do a little shout out for Chewy tonight. I have my dog Gus on the front of the car tonight, so it was cool to finally finish a race with him on the car. I usually don't finish very well with him on the car, so it was cool to put Gus third place tonight.
Hey, once again, congrats on your third place run. We'll see you next week at Talladega.
Thank you, Aaron. Enjoy the rest of the night, buddy.
So it's our third place finisher of Cody Dorsey, and that will wrap up our post-race interviews here tonight from Phoenix. And we'll turn our attention to Talladega next week. As you heard, Cody Dorsey thinks it's going to be kind of determined next week, and a lot of things can happen at Talladega, especially here in kind of the Championship 5. We'll see how that plays out for some of these Championship 5 drivers. But, I mean, it's really going to be just not getting yourself on an incident, just trying to get a somewhat decent finish. But heading into next week, before we get to Talladega next week, coming up next here on the Legends Racing Network. On Friday night, we'll have tomorrow night we'll have the NAR Cup Series. Friday night for Daytona at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. On Sunday morning, we'll have the finale for the Bonfire Racing League, also at Daytona at 9:50 a.m. Eastern Time on Sunday morning. And next week on Thursday night here for Chase Race Championship Round number 2 at Talladega 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time here for the Undisputed Cup Series. But it's definitely a fun one here from Phoenix tonight. We saw multiple different strategies play out, but Kyle Klink, once again, a dominant performance here at the short tracks. We'll see you all next time here from Phoenix. I'm Aaron Bryant, joined alongside my co-commentator and producer, Talon Drake tonight. We'll see you next time here on the Legends Racing Network.